old project, right? So here you have this really basic Rhino model transferred into Unreal. And also I have several objects like trees and the people, furniture is come from Twinmotion. So nice thing about those features is if I right click the tree, browse to asset, right? You'll see the tree is actually referenced directly into my installed path. So that is the 35G content saved under my local drive. And if I click another tree, right click, browse to asset, you can see these two trees actually reference to the same origin, the same object in the library. So this is super efficient. Imagine if you have a forest, right, hundreds of trees, but actually in the computing time, it only references to a single object. So it's super fast in terms of rendering. Okay, and this term in Unreal is called instance. You have an instance from your library into your level. The same thing, if I select a people and browse to asset, you see this people is actually referenced, right? If I roll over my cursor, I can see the path is under Twinmotion to Unreal content folder, right? So that is really, really nice to use Twinmotion. If you don't use Twinmotion, you might wondering, can I really grab, right, this object and then I can put under my, personal folder, then, I should be fine. In fact, it's not that easy. Here's the reason. In Unreal, everything is interdependent to each other. So for example, this geometry, this two people here, they have a material associated. Maybe I'm using the tree as example. It's more straightforward. So if I select the tree, browse to asset, right? The tree, if I double click, is basically the geometry of the tree. But also it has a reference to material, right? It's a separate independent file. And for this material, if I click this browse, kind of like a search button, right? So here, I was docking this. I can find this material right here, right? So this is a separate file. And this file, if I double click, right, this is material looks like in Unreal. You can see it has textures associated with it. So it's very similar like a Rhino. You have a two-dimension bitmap, right, as a texture. And if I do the search again, you can find that texture. This one is called color map, dictate the look of the tree. But also you have other maps like a normal map, or sometimes have a transparency map. So it's not just a single file, right? That makes the copy a little bit complicated. You can't just really, copy the tree to another folder. It doesn't work that way. So in Unreal, if you really want to have a clean copy, carry all the dependent files with it, the typical approach is using the migrate. So here, if I right-click Asset Actions, you can migrate this file to another folder, right? So migrate under the Asset Actions. But if I do that, you can sort of see the dependency of everything. It's not just a single file. It has multiple files. It has its texture files associated with it. You have some, script sometimes. So it's not a single file. Okay, that's the reason I think it's make more sense if you install the Twinmotion. If you do want to use their library, the trees, furnitures, it's much better, save you tons of time in the future, rather than try to copy paste across the different folders. That makes sense, right? This is just a little bit explanation why we need Twinmotion. Another quick notes, I think, is follow up from last tutorial. I think at the end, I put the robot in, right? The robot is able to climb on top of the roof, right? So some of you ask me if you have hundreds of geometries, it will be time consuming to set up a collision one by one. So today I will show you really quick. You can do multiple objects. You can give them collision at one time. Right? So I will using these three building as example. So here, if I right click browse to asset, I can see this is the origin, right, of these three objects, three geometries. So if I holding shift select all three of them, right? Or if you bring something from Revit, it could be 10, 20, 100 objects, right? So holding shift, I can select all of them. Then I can right click. In the asset actions, I can use bulk edit property matrix. This is a really quick way you can edit a property of multiple objects. Okay. So asset actions bulk edit property matrix. So if I do that, you'll see basically a table. You have three objects, right? This is the name. And also here is the property you can have access. And I will just simply search collision because there are so many features you can manipulate. So in the collision, I think there's a default called collision complexity. If you recall last time, we changed it to use complex collision as simple, right? So basically you changed all three objects property using this complex collision as simple, right? That's it. Then I can just simply close it. So now if I go back, you see a tiny star icon showed up in the corner. That means these three objects, the three files, has been manipulated, but you have not saved them yet. That's the reason you see a star here. So now I will just click Save All. Right? So the collision feature has been saved. Now if I play, I should be able to interact with all three buildings. There's a collision for the second. Yeah, I cannot get in, but maybe I can jump. Double jump, can't. That's okay. There another place I can jump on. There we go, double jump. Then you are able to climb to the top. Okay, the third one, should have a collision as well. Okay, so this is how you set up the collision for all objects just with one single click. Okay. So that's a little bit about what left from last tutorial. Today, since we are in Unreal already, I'd like to talk quickly on another really big benefit of using Unreal over Twinmotion is you can do a really quick scripting on top, and then you can make your own interactions, right? It sounds pretty scary maybe for the beginners. This is actually not different from Grasshopper. You can set up some code. You can allow objects interact to each other. So here I have a chapter 12. This is actually a book I'm writing. So if you later after the class go ahead, read the chapter 12. It covered a little bit about basics of node-based programming. So I'm not going to cover this today in class. Here I just want to give you a quick demo, just give you a little bit taste what you can do with Unreal if you know a little bit about coding. Okay, now trying to make something really complicated. Okay, so in Unreal there are two types of programming you can do. One is a blueprint, which is a code based on the graphic interface. Another is C or C++, but I don't think you want to learn C in my class. Maybe not. So here I will show you really quick. In the Word settings, if you recall, if you don't have this window, you can go to Window, Word Setting Window. And you can see here's all the settings for the default PON, the HUD, right? The default prompt basically is the third person, right? So here, if I click browse, I can find this third person, this robot right here. If I double click, I can actually see in the viewport, this is that robot. And here's the camera chasing it, right? That's the reason when we play, you see the camera is behind the robot, is follow the robot. Right? That's basically the 3D environment for this actor. In this file, there's also an event graph. If I go there, you'll probably see a bunch of kind of like a grasshopper, right? You might wonder what exactly is this. This is actually the script control the action of this robot. For example, you can actually read it, input action jump, right? So whenever you press a jump key, it will do an action called jump. That's basically the logic of this robot. There are some other things control the movement. There are some control the mouse, how the mouse is going to interact with the robot. Okay, so this is called blueprint. So here, what I want to do is I just want to add a super quick script to make this robot disappear, right? Because when I play, sometimes I don't want to block the robot block my view. Maybe I want to show my clients, show my teacher. I want to just make the robot disappear. Okay, so I will do a script to control that. So first, you can see there is a bunch of. Let me just clean up this so you don't really get what I have. I think you don't have anything here yet. So first thing I need to think about is how I want to hide the robot, right? So on the right side, on the left side, there's a bunch of objects. So here, if I select a robot, you see the robot actually called mesh, right? It also has this camera, this is called follow camera. So this is a component, right, for this robot. And this robot will be loaded in my gameplay as my default player. So in the event graph, the first thing I need to decide is how I want to hide it, right? So for example, I want using a keyboard as simple as a H key, means hide. Now you can use whatever keyboard, right? So here I can right click to search the script. So I will type keyboard H. So basically that gives you the options, many things associated with our search. So I can see a H on the keyboard. So I click. So that node has been loaded here, right? It's very similar like Grasshopper. So you press H, this thing will be triggered. Then I need to think about what next thing I want to do, right? Apparently, I want to hide the robot, right? So I will using a command called toggle visibility. Because I use blueprint hundreds of times, I already know the name. But for you, I think you just remember you can search the keyword. Toggle visibility is one of them. When you do that, you have a bunch of options. I think we can do the toggle visibility with a capsule component, right? Okay. That means you hide the entire hierarchy. It's not just a single mesh. You hide everything associated underneath that object. Because the robot, we have capsulate, we have mesh, we have cameras, right? Pretty much everything is under the hierarchy, right? So I want to hide this guy. And whenever I press the H key, I can drag and drop the connection. I will trigger, right, this action, which will hide something, right? But I don't really know which object I need to hide yet, right? So I have to tell the engine to find my current player, which is the robot, right? So here I will see find player, find current. What is the name of it? Current capture. Sorry, I forgot the name of that one. get player. Okay, get player. Sorry, so get player. Okay, so that's the one. Okay, get player. In computer scripting, get means you extract information from a system, right? Which is different from set. Set is giving a value to a variable. Get is extract value from the variable. So I want to get my player. So the player number 0, which is my default, I will just simply drag it to the target. It automatically, give you this transition. So I've got rid of this capsulate. Okay. So whatever player is my current pawn, I will get it, right? Then I will fit this into the toggle visibility tag. And here you have to check propagate to the children. And the reason is the robot has many features. The geometries, the camera associated with it, or whatever thing associated with it. Okay, so you're done. Press H, you hide this robot. And I will press C to give a comment. I will say hide robot. Okay, it's kind of like Grasshopper, right? Press C, you can do a comment. So now if I save it, compile, save. Compile is like a check. You have to check, make sure it's working, then save it. Then I play. I should see the robot right there, but if I press H, oh, sorry, I think I have something wrong. Because I have two scripts, they conflict to each other. I'll get rid of the old one. Okay. Now we'll play. H, right? You see the robot disappear and then show up. H. Yeah, I think this could be a really convenient way if you want to, capture the screen without the robot. You can hide it, right, with the blueprint. Okay, I think that's it. The very quick give you just a little bit taste of, blueprint scripting. It's really powerful. If for anyone familiar with Grasshopper, I think you will enjoy how to do scripting with graphic interface. By the way, if you do want to capture the screen, with a robot or without a robot, the best way you can do it, I will show you super quick. So I will find a view. Okay. So capture the screen, you can just simply go to this left corner, and here is a tool called a high resolution screenshot. That's it. It's very similar like a Twinmotion, just using the GPU capture the entire screen. Before you do that, I usually will turn the mode to game view. The reason is you have some kind of buttons, icons floating. If you switch to game view, they all disappear. Otherwise, you see some kind of weird line show up. You don't want to capture them. So game view, then you do a capture high resolution screenshot. Depends on the resolution you need. You can control maybe 3, which is already pretty high. So capture. I give you the warning, but that's okay. Because instead the resolution is maybe too high. The file is 15 megabits. You see that immediately. If I double click, you see it's pretty high resolution. It takes instant, 1 second, right? You got this high resolution image. So that's it. How to capture the high resolution screenshot from this drop-down menu. Cool. I think that's all for the demo today. We covered a little bit how to set up collision for multiple objects, right? How to do a quick blueprint for robot, how to do a screenshot. I think that's probably enough. I hope you understand now Unreal allow you to do more than Twinmotion.